Pipe Network presents.
It was in second year college that I learned how to play the drums, and actually, um, I almost didn't um I almost didn't get to enroll in that class. So what happened was, so I am enrolled in the music production program of Del Sol College of Saint Benilde, and so like in the second year, you will be able to pick your applied music or pick your instrument for the applied music class. So applied music is like the subject. So I was contemplating on, am I going to choose keyboard or am I going to choose another instrument that, something like I don't know playing yet, I want to learn. Because I hear some of my classmates say like, oh, you're gonna take keyboard again, we already had that in first year. So yeah, that was why there's also like a light bulb that I got an idea. Oh, okay, maybe I can try playing the drums because I also really wanted to learn how to play it, and and experience like playing it for a band, and so that's what I took.
Hi, my name is Mark Adam and I'm the host of Quantox the Podcast, a podcast show that we can discuss different hot trending topics from love, social media, politics, and many more. May pagkulitan makipagkwentuhan lang dito sa Quantox the Podcast. See you there!
On behalf of my guest here in the Rajiv Show, we would like to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Hey folks, welcome back to the Rajiv Show, and this is going to be an interesting episode because I have one hell of a musician that I kind of got in touch with. So I'm basically fangirling right now at this moment, and I'm excited to have her. It's been a long time since I've had a musician, and we're gonna talk a lot about music and stuff like that. So, ladies and gentlemen, my guest Mika Cruise from Adelaide. Hi, Mika. How you doing?
Hello. Hi, Rajiv. I'm great. I'm doing fine. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm so also very happy to be here. And hello to your listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. It's been a long time. I mean, from the moment you introduced me to Adelaide, I just wanted to hop on and have the rest of the band, but
Oh.
but it's very hard to have the rest of the band on Zoom, especially with the limited time and all that stuff. So yeah, that's one
Yeah.
thing that sucks in Zoom.
No problem.
So
In the
before
future.
before we talk about drumming and everything, drumming music and everything, before we get into the meat and bones, I gotta ask you, if you and I were classmates in high school, who were you in high school?
Okay. Perhaps I'm that small but terrible ish girl, in a sense that I would always be the one reciting in class and aiming for high grades, and also joining the music club, right?
Oh,
I mean, like,
interesting.
um, yeah, like playing instruments and just learning them, or like part of the music ministry team, something like
Hmm.
that. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. You cut straight into into the meat and bones on this one. Music. We gotta talk about this. When did music become a part of your life? Since we're talking about reflection and everything, I just wanted to know, when did music become part of your life?
Music became part of my life. I think it has been there since I was really like a little kid, or maybe since I was born. But what I'm saying is that because when we were young, my parents, my mom usually plays like a CD of classical piano music,
Yeah.
and then we just listen to it. And also she enrolled me and my sister when I was in grade 1. So I got enrolled to piano lessons, and that's the time that I got to learn about reading notes and recognizing pitches and yeah, music basically. But I didn't continue the piano lessons because I remember being afraid of my teacher.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, it's funny, but
Yeah.
I'm always thankful. I I realized that I should have just continued it at some point. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really grateful to my parents, or to my yeah, for enrolling me in that piano lessons. And I think like when I was in grade 4, that was the time that I got back into music. Because before I into music, I mean, let me say that again. Before I got interested again with music, I was like into dancing
Mm.
since like first grade up to grade 3,
Yeah.
or yeah, something like that. Then grade 4 onwards, I tried to play the guitar and also learn the piano, just the chords, and you just search the chords on the internet and just learn it all by yourself. And I remember playing like what they call that, the Sound of Music. Uh, what is that? So a dear, a female dear,
Ah, that
on
one.
my keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would take like forever and just play the same thing over and over again. I think the neighbors are already tired of hearing the same thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's when I started.
I gotta ask though,
Mhm.
when did you transition? Uh, you said you started with a piano, yeah, and you started working on
Yeah.
piano. I gotta ask though, when did you transition
Mhm.
into the drums? When did the percussive rhythm begin for you?
Okay, so like, it was quite really a journey. This music, my passion for music, because the first thing, yeah, I learned the piano, and until like uh around entirety of my high school, something like that.
Yeah.
So the drums, I learned it when I was like in second year college. So that's around 2013.
Okay.
Oops, my age is being revealed here. No. So yeah, but I really wanted to learn the drums that time because a backstory. So because I'm really like interested in music, there's a point where I like wanted to learn as many instruments as I can. So
Mm.
um, around grade 5, I tried to play the guitar also because I was inspired by my sister who also plays the guitar that time. And
Yeah.
then I see her classmates playing the violin, and then I also wanted to play the violin. I also have a violin here, so
Yeah.
but I didn't knew that. So yeah, and then um yeah, I was playing the piano also for when I joined like this Youth for Christ. I was part of the music main, and I joined like the battle of the bands. That's the first time that I got into like a band, or um how do I say it, like the because there's like a creatives competition that
Yeah.
for the community, and that's the part where I got exposed on band rehearsals, or yeah, something like that. But in going back to the drumming part,
Yeah.
So it was in second year college that I learned how to play the drums. And actually, um, I almost didn't um, I almost didn't get to enroll in that class. So what
Oh.
happened was, so I am enrolled in the music production program of Del Sol College of Saint Benilde, and so like in the second year, you will be able to pick your applied music or pick your instrument for the applied music class. So
Yeah.
applied music is like the subject. So I was contemplating on, am I going to choose keyboard or am I going to choose another instrument that, something like I don't know playing yet. I want to learn
Yeah.
because I hear some of my classmates say like, oh, you're gonna take keyboard again. We already had that in first year. So yeah, that was why there's also like a light bulb that I got an idea. Oh, okay, maybe I can try playing the drums because I also really wanted to learn how to play it
Yeah.
and and experience like playing it for a band, and so that's what I took. And also I remember our academic chairperson calling me before the term
Hmm.
started. She
Hmm.
said that um, uh, maybe I shouldn't take drums as my instrument because she's just concerned about my scholarship because I'm a scholar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like School of Design and Arts scholar, and of course we need to maintain a grade, so I don't know how to play the instrument, so she's just concerned that I might get a low grade and then thus affecting my scholarship. But then I told her that I am going to take drum lessons before the term starts. That really was my plan, but it didn't happen. I mean, I
Hmm.
wasn't able to take lessons beforehand. So my first actual lessons was during that term, during that subject. And thankfully, my prof is really like kind, and also he taught me by what level I am. So like the beginner level.
Yeah.
And yeah, thankfully I got a good grade.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So this, I we had a guest named Jis Alip. That's how we got connected, folks. For those who are listening, that's how we got connected via Jis
Yes.
Alip. If you haven't heard that episode, you gotta check out that episode. It was interesting. So I met Jis in college, and from my perspective of knowing Jis, shout out to Jis if she's listening to this episode, is that
Hi, Jay.
she she was a prodigy because we were in the same batch when we were coming up into the ranks. I was blown away by her ability to understand and comprehend music, and uh, that's how I was inspired, and I really respected her and her ability. And yeah, that's the story of my perspective of Jis and my respects to Jis. And yeah, in college it was a lot interesting. For me, I never had the scholarship experience though. um for me, I wanted to share a little bit of my college experience in terms of how I came about with the music that the instrument that I chose. Initially, I was so excited to join music to learn more about bass, double bass to be exact.
Mm,
But sadly,
wow.
there was no there was no double bass instructor. So the next option
Mm,
that I had was classical guitar, and I had a conversation with the classical guitar instructor. So yeah, and we connected, me and the classical guitar instructor. He was also a guest on my show, Sir Phil de la Rosa, and it was just interesting. I gotta say it was an uh, interesting journey I had with surfing, classical guitar. It was an amazing experience. We mostly most of the time that I could recall the classes were more on just pure conversation. Basically, he'd give me a piece of music, teach me the basics of how to get across that, and then we talked a lot about philosophy and life. That's one thing that I loved about Sir Phil. And by the end of it, as long as I performed it, I performed the piece. We're good for it. But yeah, it was an interesting 6 years, I think. And the pieces that I got were very interesting. Classical guitar. Uh, when I think about classical guitar, I think Terega, and I think Terega was mostly the
Mhm.
music that I was playing, and it was an interesting journey. I tried some Filipino stuff, but mostly I went into the Western stuff. But yeah, that was that. Like I said, it was an interesting journey, and yeah, uh, I wanted to ask, what was the story between Atali and the bands that you're performing with? How did that come about? I'm just curious. I'm basically fangirling right now because you the last time I saw your profile, you were in a Family Feud. You were featured in Family Feud, and you were featured in this, and you were featured left and right. And I gotta ask, how did you get into that music scene with, in terms of getting the band? How did they come about in your life?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, when I mentioned earlier, I was part of uh, a band, like in our organization, Youth for Christ, back then.
Yeah,
And that was the time that I um, got or had an idea on how things work in the band setup. I mean, like joining, like being an individual, jamming out with fellow individuals and just making music, and being on stage together. So that was the very first time that I got got the hang of how things work for it.
yeah,
And then, um, and then, sorry.
yeah,
Mas ako si mama. So, and then fast forward, okay, and then when I was in college, that became um me having an idea on how band works. Even got I got more idea on how it goes. And also I think because being or having connections, or like I'm adding people in college, like
yeah,
um yeah, I added them on Facebook. And then eventually, even my upper batch, so because I just really also wanted to, like, maybe I can ask someone if I have questions on some assignments, something
yeah,
like that. And then I noticed that eventually, because on Facebook, you can see mutual friends.
yeah,
And whenever I get also to add people, and yeah, the mutual friends is like also helping. So I guess that was also a part of the reason I got a connection of um yeah, network of musicians. But also so it was in college that um I mean, like, after college, that was the first time that Athalie
hmm,
jammed. Oh, sorry, let me say that again. So in college, that was the time that I met my um, co-members or my bandmates in Athlete right now. So
Yeah.
we were actually batchmates, classmates in music production, and yeah, I remember talking to each other on the sixth floor of SDA building, and that was the time where we formed uh, Athlete, but it was on a different band name back then, and
Okay.
it wasn't really Athlete yet. And I guess it's that's quite a journey, and it evolves.
Yeah.
So that was the first time that we tried to jam out, and after college, when we graduated, that was the time that we got to perform outside of school also.
Yeah.
So we were actually starting out as uh, a band that does gigs for corporate or private events.
Okay.
And then, yeah, fast forward to like 2017, that was just the time that we tried to do like production gigs. So that's the time we performed our originals. And then, yeah, from there, um, we met several people. We were very blessed to be part of different shows, to be also invited to different gigs.
Yeah.
So yeah, as we went on, we were able to play or perform at Coke Studio as front act for the what they call this, homecoming, and also the Coke Studio launch. And yeah, we were blessed to be one of the first groups that were able to record in the Coke Studio truck. And so also, as we went along, of course, also we have classmates
Yeah.
who are musicians, and I also enrolled with I wanted to further enhance my drumming skills, so I enrolled under Ate Carmi Santiago. She is the drummer of by Hannah, also Richard Poon, and she also played for Evidencel, and I'm very grateful to her, and I learned a lot from her, and she's really inspiring. So she was able to like connect me to Prettier Than Pink. So Prettier Than Pink is the band of Atelier and Le Bautista at the Gretchen. Um, yeah, and that was like a 90s band. Are
Yeah.
you familiar with the Prettier Than Pink? So they sang Cool Ka Lang. So during the rally gigs, I was able to play or perform with them, and session for them rather. And also, yeah, after that, um after those gigs, we also had a gig in Bicol, and that was the first time that I also got to um, perform at the very not very, I mean, at a place that's far from Manila. So
Hmm.
like in
Interesting.
Bicol. Yeah. Yes. And then they also yeah, as part of Prettier Than Pink, they also tapped me to be with them on uh the Family Feud show.
Yeah.
So
I saw
that's
that.
OMG. That was fun. That's an experience. Yeah, one for the books as well.
Yeah. I
Yeah, and
gotta
yeah,
I gotta
mhm.
admit, you started off an interesting life. It's pretty interesting. Uh, how it came
Yeah.
about. You got you started off with bands in college, and then you got into more professional bands. That's really interesting. I gotta ask though.
Mm.
In this experience that you've had, and of course every day and every night, where we talk about reflections here in this ongoing series. What is do you live by a philosophy that keeps you up, that keeps you up and keeps you moving when you have an off day? Of course, everybody has an off day as humans. I gotta ask, do you have those kind of
Mm-hmm.
moments that music tells you something, or a quotation that you've you've established for yourself as a musician that
Mm-hmm.
reminds you that, hey, this is what I gotta do and I gotta do this?
Yeah. Okay, so maybe this one is not just for musicians, but I have this like um saying that I have in mind. So it goes like everyone or one day you will die. Yeah, and
Mm,
it's inspiring enough for me because like what it wants to say is that one day you will be buried underneath. So like yeah, everyone's gonna die one day, so like we have to make the most. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. So like I'm gonna die one day, and I just have to make the most out of what life is for me, or I have to make the most of my life. And yeah, and music has been really a blessing. And actually I'm also amazed at how I got into this path, because really back then in high school I didn't really imagine that I would be in this path, or maybe the expectation of my teachers or my classmates, because I'm more into the scientific class or something like that, into science. But
yeah,
yeah, I just also love music. And even if it's like cliche like music is my passion, well, it still applies. So I just really continued with it. And yeah, and also what's interesting is that music, it's a lifestyle actually. And you get to meet people from all walks of life. Like you get to meet people who are like professional musicians, and as
yeah,
well, I mean, like those who studied formally, and
yeah,
those also who learned by themselves. It's so amazing that you just get to hear stories from other people and share memories with them on the stage, and share music and those moments. And also um, you will also learn how to uh, work in a team setting. And being a musician, you also learn how to be empathetic, in a
yeah,
sense that you need to understand your bandmates, and so that you will create harmony or beautiful music together through um because it's something that unites you, that unites you. Yeah. And then yeah, sorry, my ideas are scattered or all over the
yeah.
place, but
Yeah, that's normal, even
it's
for me. Believe me, being a host, I have disorganized thoughts because I've hosted almost a lot of guests, and as a fellow musician, I understand that sometimes there's that perfectionistic way of thinking that pops out from time to time,
yeah.
and it's hard. It's hard to have that conflict of um, the conflict of being so perfectionistic in terms of living, as well as being a musician. And yeah, it's just an interesting, and this outlook that you've showed me is just, it's just been interesting. And
Thank
yeah, it's just mind-blowing to hear
Yeah.
stories.
If I could add something.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, and also, so like going to that point again, like one day I'm gonna die, and what do I want to have? Yeah, you know the saying that when you're on your deathbed, your life flashes before your eyes,
Yeah.
right? And then so yeah, that inspires me to paint or like create the life that I want, which is um the journey of being a musician. And it's been just really so happy feeling, like feeling all those adrenaline rush on when performing and seeing the smiles of the people and being able to inspire them at some point, and being like a part of their life at some point, even if it's just a little bit of time or something like that. It's just really touching to think about that. And I think that's one of the best things of being a musician or an artist. And I mean, in whatever craft you are pursuing, yeah, as long as you continue and share your work out there,
Yeah.
people will appreciate what you do. And doesn't matter how many, as long as you get to impact, if even if how many, or just like one or a few people are listening, and you get to inspire them, that's definitely a win. Yeah.
Interesting. Is just interesting. I love the perspective, and I've already put it up here on my quotes. I try to squeeze out the best in terms of philosophy and simple quotations, and I love this conversation because you simplified that one day you will die, and so make the most out of life. It's just you just made it interesting, and yeah, it's some people see it in different perspectives. Some people see it as, I had that. I wanted to share this personal journey that I had, and
Mm.
so I had before my podcast series, before everything. Uh, I had an ongoing anxiety about that, and talking to you when
Mm.
you mentioned this one day you will die, and it didn't trigger. In one way, it made a different perspective. It gave me a different perspective,
Yeah.
understanding, because sometimes life makes the best. Like I said, it goes back to that philosophy of being an imperfectionistic perfectionist. I don't know if it makes sense, but yeah, as a life of a musician, as life of an artist, it's just an interesting view. You know, uh, you mentioned that I'm just trying to recap everything that I've learned from you is that you've lived the life in the earlier years. You lived the life of being a musician, and then it came to you naturally. That's the way I see it from my perspective. That it became so natural uh, that you failed at first, but you kept going at it. You tried, and in college, one thing led to another, and then you know you're making the best out of life now.
Yeah.
And as a fan of athlete, and I'm a fan of anything
Aw,
that
thank
you
you.
do. I'm a fan of Mika Cruise. I should make a shirt, a Mika Cruise shirt, and sell that. But just just kidding. The main point that I'm trying to drive at is that it's just an interesting way of looking at your perspective as your story, narrative of your storytelling. It's just interesting, and yeah, I'm just blown away. I'm just blown away by how the perspective of your mindset in terms of how you see life makes it interesting for you as a musician, and makes you just literally uh, hit the drum and make life resonate even better. So yeah, it's just interesting coming
You.
from my perspective. It's just an interesting compliment that is a very long explanation of me, because I like to spice my words, but sometimes my words are too spicy. I don't even know what taste it is. But yeah, yeah, it's just interesting. I love this conversation. It's a nice build up, and I love your
Mm.
passion and your energy. And I gotta say, I really applaud what you're doing. And uh I'm there with you, whatever you're doing in
you.
life in terms of music, life, arts. I'm there with you. I'm supporting you through and through as a fan, and as a guest. I really honor you and respect you
Thank,
for that. So yeah.
thank you so much, Rajiv.
Yeah.
Those are really kind words. Like, um, food for the soul. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just blown away. Even till today, I'm trying to pinch myself, knowing that I'm having a conversation with you. So that I think that's why my words are a little bit spicy. And we have a for those who are tuning in, I have a back to back recording on this particular day. I had a back to back recording with the bass player, and the next episode is of course with the bass player of Atlee, and we're 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 gonna hit it off. It's crazy. It's just I'm still pinching myself that this day even exists. I mean, I thought this day was just sleep, wake up, do something outside, and go back to bed. But it just turned itself around because I'm speaking with members of musicians and having an insight to what music life is. It's just heartwarming, this experience. So yeah, I'm just blown away. I'm still pinching myself, just so you know. I'm still pinching myself. I mean, am I still in reality, or or am I sleeping? And yeah, I love the story. The one thing I love about your story, your life, your experience, I really love it, and it really resonates to the topic of reflection because it's just the storytelling from the story arc of how you presented it. It was just so perfect, and for me, I felt every emotion of your story, and it's just heartwarming to know that there is someone also living a parallel life that I also wanted to pursue. But we'll talk about that in another episode, probably. My perspective in the way I
True.
see life now. And before we wrap up
Mm.
this conversation, because I know it's been an intense thing, Zoom has just reminded me that our conversation has to be cut short. I'm sure my listeners would love to connect with you via social media. How would they find you on social media, by the way?
Okay, so you can check out our page, Athalie Official. It's spelled ATHALIE and then official. And yeah, that is the main channel that we post our updates. And we also are on Spotify. If you could listen to our music, our songs, that would be great. That would be awesome. And yeah, I also hope to catch you on our gigs. So we also post it on our Facebook page.
Uh,
And yeah, and also hopefully one day we get to play in Baguio again
yeah, that's
because
a
we went
dream.
there.
That's a dream.
Yeah.
Again, you guys played here. Where was I?
Yeah.
Where was I on the
we
first meet?
we like performed. That was like a corporate and a private event rather,
Ah,
but we rode around and played at had an open jam at Cafe Clutch.
okay. I know the place. I know the place. Interesting.
Yeah.
Just to end the conversation, that's just interesting. You were in Baguio. That's interesting. It just blew my mind.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm looking forward for
Around
that day.
27.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the day that
Yeah.
you guys come and jam. And I'm excited. Probably if I have enough
Yeah.
energy to bring the Rajiv Soul live, I'd have you guys live performance. I don't know. I'm gonna think of something creative. That's how us creatives do. So I want to say
Yeah.
uh, thank you, Mika Cruz, for this opportunity and saying yes to this opportunity. And it's a huge honor for you to be on my show. And like I said, I'm giving you warm hugs from where I'm standing because it's a huge honor to have you.
Thank you so much also to you, Rajiv. Thank you for having me on your show. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And for those who are tuning in, I hope you had an interesting insight in the life of a musician. Tune in next week of the release because I have another guest who is also a member of Atlee. So with that in mind, cheers, folks, and I will see you in the next episode.